Hello and welcome to Life with Francie podcast, a place you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self-care, self-love, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a place where we support one another to get to the next level in business and personal life. I hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get this show started. On this episode, I have the pleasure to talk to Alison, a registered nutritional therapist who specializes globally in helping women manage the negative symptoms of menopause. Her mission is to support her clients with bespoke changes to diet, health, and lifestyle so they can harness their hormones and can get their confidence and sparkle back. So without further ado, welcome Alison to my show. So
Oh,
what is life with Alison?
thank you so much. It's lovely to be on your podcast today. Thank you for having me. Yes, Life with Alison. Well, as you said, I'm a registered nutritional therapist. I specifically specialize in menopausal women's health, so perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal health. So, I dedicate a lot of my time to running my own business and really helping to support women through this, what can be a very difficult time in a woman's life. I started my journey in the health and wellness industry quite young, really, because when I was growing up, I had acne, I had very bad skin, and I didn't want to take medication all the time. So I kind of then began to be very interested in nutrition and hormones, because, puberty and acne, a lot of the time it's hormone related. So I really kind of looked into that and thought about what I was eating and what I was doing, really to improve my skin. And that led me into the skin care industry. So I studied and became an esthetician, working specifically with midlife women's skin because of the hormone interest. And that area with perimenopausal, menopausal women, all of a sudden, when you get into perimenopause, which is roughly around the age of 45, you can suddenly develop acne, which is not nice. I mean, it's not nice at the best of times, but when you're middle-aged, you think you're past all the teenage spots. So I really concentrated on that, but I very soon came to realize that you can work from the outside, but you also need the nutritional, the lifestyle, the mindset piece. So that's when I went back and studied at university nutritional science, nutritional therapy, and specifically focused on helping women during perimenopause and menopause, because it's an area that, I remember when I was growing up, my mother, my grandmother, and all, the midlife ladies that were in our lives were really suffering, and nobody spoke about it. And it really kind of felt that they didn't truly understand what was happening. And I see that now with a lot of women, even though we know what menopause means, we don't really understand it. We don't really understand the different stages. I love cooking. I'm a great cook. My mother was a chef, so I was very spoiled, grew up in the kitchen, really just watching her, doing things. So as soon as I could walk, I was in the kitchen cooking. So I love cooking, making new recipes and everything. I'm actually a beekeeper. I've got bees in the back garden, which is fun. Yeah, it's really fun, and we produce all our own raw honey, so that it's so wonderful to be able to have that. So that's really what I do in my spare time. I am a golfer, which is constantly frustrating, and I love scuba diving. I spend a lot of my time under the water as well. So that's a kind of a little bit of my life and who I am.
Wow, you sound pretty active, girl. When do you have time to relax? Oh, that's awesome. And where are you from?
I'm from the UK. I'm British. I was born and bred in London, but I live in Sweden. I live just outside Stockholm in Sweden now, but I go back to the UK a lot of the time. So
That's awesome. We were just talking how the time changes. Yours is 2 p.m. and over here it's 8 a.m. in Kansas.
Yeah.
So that is so cool. And I forgot to mention in the description that I found you, or you found me, through a pot match. I always make sure that I give credit where credit is due. So that's all. That's an awesome resources for podcasters to find guests, as well as people that are working on social media, to find podcasts to be guests on. So the link will be in the description of the episode. So back to you, Alison. So yeah, how you started with your mission?
Yeah, I mean, that really goes back to when my mission is to help women, supporting women through this difficult time. And, even it's just helping one woman at a time. I work on a very individual basis with my clients. But no, it started when I was young. My mission really started when I developed acne, and that led me into an esthetician, working with women, seeing the struggles that they were having with their hormones, and really dedicating my work in life to really helping these women just feel better and get the support that they need, because you don't need to suffer. There's so many things that you can do, whether you're a teenager going through puberty, or what I specialize in now is women in later life, because I mean, menopause is a totally natural process. It's not a disease, and every single woman will go through it. But I think it's what I want to do is educate women so they understand what's happening, and can help themselves. They can, think, I don't need to put up with this. I'm going to go to my doctor, or I'm going to go to a nutritional therapist and get help and start feeling better.
Okay, so I'm very naive when it comes to hormones, and you don't even want to know what I learned about hormones through my family, because as a teenager, my family is special, and they had called it demons. It wasn't until I came to the United States that I learned that it was hormones. So how does one learn how to balance your hormones?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I mean, hormones, what is a hormone? I mean, what is that? Everyone talks about them, but why are they so important? What do they do? And I mean, we have hormones, many different hormones. The ones specifically, the female sex hormones that affect us, that are in menopause, but obviously through puberty, etc. It's your estrogen, your progesterone, and testosterone is an important hormone for women as well. But a hormone it's actually like a chemical messenger. It's tells your body, the area that hormone is working in. It sends it a message and tells it what it wants it to do. And there's many different hormones. So it's really like, the messenger that goes to an area or an organ of the body and tells it what it should be doing. And when you think of estrogen, which is the female sex hormone, that's the one everyone thinks about during perimenopause and menopause, because that's the one that starts to decline, and progesterone. But estrogen is, we have estrogen receptors all over the body. And when our levels start to decline or fluctuate, it affects virtually every system in the body, because we need estrogen for so many different things, like bone health, heart health, brain health, gut health. And when these levels start to, in the beginning of perimenopause, which normally roughly on average starts at the age of 45, that's when you can start developing some of the symptoms, like the hot flashes, weight gain, irritability, mood swings. The list goes on. There's it's a very different experience for everybody. And perimenopause, what happens with the hormones then is that they start to fluctuate. They become a bit unbalanced. So, you can understand why people get mood swings and irritability, because when you actually look, the estrogen can be really high, the progesterone can be low, it can be all over the place. And this really goes on for quite a few years, and gradually the levels decline. And then you actually come into menopause. So what menopause is, it's actually a stage of the menopause transition. And this means that you haven't had a menstruation for a year. So when you haven't had a period for a year, you are then in menopause. And then all the time after that is what we call postmenopause. And that's where you're not ovulating, you're not fertile anymore. Your body does produce a very small amount of estrogen from the adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys, but just enough to keep you healthy, or enough to keep your body healthy. And that's how your body will be, you know, for the rest of your life. And women are living, you know, once you've gone through the menopause, you know, you can live for another 30 years. So it's really important that you realize that you don't have to suffer. There is many things, you know, that you can do. And menopause is, like I said, a natural process, but suffering isn't. You should not have to suffer. You know, you really need to tackle it with lifestyle, with nutrition, with mindset. And then, you know, this is individual, but if you are interested in hormone replacement therapy, you know, you've got that as well. So there's many different things that you can do. You really don't need to be feeling terrible.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning, for my mom, it has been a really hard situation because she's super young at heart. So she feels like now, first of all, she had like a horrible time. She's still in denial that her woman problems is gone. So, and that is so interesting that you say the period will be gone, but you're still ovulating.
No, you when you're in perimenopause, you're still ovulated. So that's between roughly the age of 45 to 51. So you're
Okay.
still having periods, you're still fertile. But then when you get to menopause, which basically means you haven't had a period for a year, so you haven't had a menstruation for a year, after that, you don't produce, you don't ovulate anymore because you don't have any estrogen. But
Okay.
perimenopause, absolutely. I mean, you still producing estrogen. It just becomes a bit all over the place and a bit fluctuating. But menopause and postmenopause, you're not ovulating anymore.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I misunderstood that one. I was like, what is happening? Oh, wow. That's a lot of information. And then hot flashes and all of those symptoms, is there anything that they can do to make it a little bit better? Because like from what I hear and see, I'm in my 30s, but like I said in the beginning, when I was speaking to you, this is more selfishly so I can learn and teach my mom as she's going through it, because like she lives in Puerto Rico, so it's hot already, and then to have a hot flash on top of that, she is miserable.
Yeah, it's not nice, and everyone experiences them differently. The main things with hot flashes is there's certainly, if we talk about the nutritional side of it, a lot of people find that they have triggers that trigger the hot flash. Alcohol is a prime example, and that's actually been researched, and it's shown if you have an odd glass of wine in the evenings, then you're likely that can trigger off a hot flash, or you maybe would have more hot flashes throughout the day. And then night sweats, which really come into the hot flash. It's a similar thing. You just wake up at night and you're sweating. So really thinking about foods that trigger that, and alcohol. A lot of women, when they come into perimenopause and menopause, they just say it's just not worth drinking because it just makes me feel so terrible. So that can be a trigger. Spicy foods. This is quite individual, actually, because some people say, no, I don't have a problem. And some people find that if they eat a lot of spicy foods, that can make the hot flashes worse. And also, you have to think about stress, because stress is a huge thing when it comes. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on stress, but when it comes to hot flash and menopausal symptoms, stress is a huge trigger, and it really can make things a lot worse. So I think you really need to learn to manage, if you find you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, find some techniques that you can do. For example, breathing techniques, very easy just deep breathing techniques when you find that, oh, I feel I'm getting stressed, I feel I'm getting a bit anxious. It's so brilliant breathing, deep breathing, because it actually tells your body that everything is okay. It's virtually impossible to be stressed when you're deep breathing, because it sends messages to your nervous system to say everything's okay, you don't have to worry, we're breathing nice and deeply. Because a lot of people, when they're stressed, they breathe quite shallow. So stress management, finding something that works for you. When I work with clients, I really try and find realistic solutions, because we're all busy, aren't we? We're all, it feels like the whole world is suffering from chronic stress. So it's really finding small things that work for you, like breathing techniques, which you can do them when you're working. It's just taking a few deep breaths. And that's actually been shown with hot flashes in research to really help if you do deep breathing. And just find it, even if it's just going for a 5-minute walk, or just sitting outside for 5-10 minutes, finding something that really works for you. Because a lot of people, of course, if you want to do meditation, yoga, brilliant, but not everyone has that hour to go to a yoga class or whatever. So it's really, really finding something that works for you, and then thinking about what you eat, because there's so many things that can really aggravate the menopausal symptoms. And one of the main things is ultra processed foods and sugars. And all the really like sugary drinks, energy drinks, it just shoots your blood sugar up, which can set off various symptoms. It can cause weight gain. The list goes on. Having high blood sugar because of what you're eating, the refined carbohydrates, isn't good for your overall health, but it's certainly not good for you during menopause. Because of the lack of estrogen, you start to become, your gut health and your insulin levels, which is another hormone which helps to regulate blood sugar. Your body isn't as sensitive to these hormones anymore. So it can happen that, it's shown in research that insulin resistance is more common in women when they're in postmenopause and menopause. So really thinking about what you eat, and eating whole foods. We weren't supposed to eat foods that were in a package with a list of 20, 30 ingredients. We were supposed to eat, a chicken is a chicken. It's only got one ingredient. A piece of broccoli, fish, whatever. More of a Mediterranean style diet. That's the one that tends to come best out in research. And that's, everyone say, oh, Mediterranean, well, I don't live by the Mediterranean. What does that mean? But it's not. It's basically white meat, fish, nuts, legumes like your beans and peas, etc. All the lovely healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, coconut oil, butter. Having more of a whole foods diet. And people always, I think we always think it's going to take longer to prepare, but it doesn't. And what I tend to do is always have, I don't cook in the week. I don't have time to, but so I cook at the weekend, I batch cook. And then I'll always have something in the fridge that I can just take out and warm up, whether it's a chicken breast, some salad, a piece of fish, some soup I've made, so you just have to plan, but you don't have to be in the kitchen for hours every evening. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that is so unrealistic.
Yeah. I mean, nobody can they? They just, it would be lovely if you could spend an hour preparing, a fantastic meal every evening. But I mean, it just doesn't work, does it? So really thinking about and planning when you go shopping. And then another key thing, which I know is very basic, is water. We actually don't drink enough water, and that can really help with menopausal symptoms. It stops you dehydrating. It helps with brain health and gut health. It's just crucial for everything. But we know we should do it, but we don't drink enough water in general. We don't. I mean, the brain's made up of 70% water. So when you start to become dehydrated, you can lose concentration, you can get brain fog, which is a very typical symptom of menopause. So crucial. Just have a water bottle somewhere near you, and just, I think you have to be more mindful of how much you drink, you know, be aware of it.
Yeah, I work outside, so water is my best friend. And for some people, as a podcaster, because we're talking so much, doing interview, water is like our best friend. But yeah, my mom sucked at drinking water. My friends don't drink water. So that is so interesting, you know, that even with just that, as simple as that, as just drinking water, could help you out through your process.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. There's so many things you can do that are really easy. You know, deep breathing and drinking water, that will make you feel better. And it doesn't cost anything. And you can, you know, you can drink water anywhere. You can sit at work and do some deep breathing. It's not easy, you know, it's not a problem to do it. It doesn't take any time.
Awesome. So do you have a program, a website? Do you work on a one-on-one with your clients? What is that? What does your program look like?
Yeah, I work on a one-to-one basis with my clients, and I have two different programs. I have a 3-month and a 6-month program, because the majority of people, you know, when they come to me, one appointment is not enough. You know, we really need to work on so many different aspects. So I have an intake form where I do a very, very in-depth health analysis, and we really get to the bottom of what is going on. I work with what's called the functional medicine model, where you really, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion, and you really get to the root cause of what is going on. And the aim is to support the client and reach their goals, because everyone has different goals, don't they, and what they want to achieve. And we put a health plan together, which is nutrition, lifestyle modifications, and mindset. And then we put the plan in place, and then it's the support that I give, which is crucial. So I talk to my clients every week. We have a support call, see how things are going. You know, I coach my clients through, because a lot of the time it's very difficult to change habits. You know, we want to do these things, but actually doing it can be quite difficult, changing habits. So really, you know, making them accountable and being there so they can chat with me and say how they're feeling and everything. So that's how I work. But like I say, it is quite individual depending on what the person needs. I do functional testing, supplementation if that is what is needed. The best way to contact me is on my website, which is alisonblad.com, and that's BLADH. It's a funny Swedish spelling.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow, I have never seen that one before.
I know, it actually means leaf in Sweden. My husband's Swedish, that's why I've got such a Swedish surname. But that's the best place to contact me. On there, I've got a wonderful resources page. So, you know, if you're interested, you can go and download. There's lots of free ebooks with, you know, wonderful meal plans and recipe ideas that'll get you going, whether you want to improve your skin health or you're tired all the time. There's different programs for different you know, problems or what you want to improve. And then I'm on all social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I've just joined TikTok, so I'm on all, and you can find just under Alison Blad.
That's awesome. I fought TikTok for 4 years and downloaded it, and one day 4 hours went. Like, I will never get those 4 hours back. I was like, oh, I did not mean to do that. TikTok is so bad for you, but I use it, you know, to promote the podcast. But I'm so excited. I gotta check out your TikTok account.
Yeah, I've only actually just started, so I'm quite, you know, when you start at the beginning, you feel you just have to get out there, don't you, and put some videos out there, which I've done, but it's time consuming. I'm more active on Twitter and Instagram, but TikTok's fun.
Yeah, awesome. I will have every single link in the description of the episode for my listeners, you know, if they want to work with you or follow you. That's a way to reach out.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
No, thank you for your time and your knowledge, sharing it with my listeners. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, that's great. It's a pleasure just to get this information out, because there's so many women that really need support during this time in their lives.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to another episode of Live with Francie podcast. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, all the description and everything will be in the description of the episode. Hope you have a blessed day.